8 minutes we got left before we chat. Grab your coffee, find your seat. Cowbells are ringing, that's our cue. Gonna share our thoughts with you. Laugh and gossip, spit in tea. Little secrets between you and me. Countdown ticking, let's get real. Heart to heart, it's how we feel. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all those tears. Snap a pic of what we wear. Brush our hair, let down our care. Conversations never lie in this moment with you and I. Clock is ticking, here we go. Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time so sweet. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all our tears. Clock is ticking, here we go. Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time so sweet. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all our tears.
Morning, y'all. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds before Girl Talk starts, so you have just enough time to grab yourself a cup of coffee and get in a comfy seat. We'll see you soon.
Catch Girl Talks every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams. Scrolling through your daily memes.
Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen. Click subscribe, don't be mean. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine.
Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
GURLTAUX is who we are.
Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen.
Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen.
Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Update stories, laugh and cry. It's Girl Talk, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more.
Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen.
Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
GURLTAUX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I am here. I'm good. I'm good.
We have we have this buzz noise going on.
Is it the heater?
We just have a loud buzz or a fuzzy noise going on.
There's always something first thing in the morning.
I'm telling you. Like, it's ridiculous. But, oh, I can see there's a fan blowing. That's what it is. It's
Yeah,
the
that's
fan
what I was
noise.
thinking.
Okay, well, sorry, guys. There is a fan going on in down here. So there's a slight little bit of a
Yep.
fuzz noise, but I turned it down as much as I could. So it's been a week.
It has. It was a good week. It was a educating week. It was a busy week.
It was a busy week. We're doing a little bit of a recap. Give me 1 second while I just talk for just a second while I try to get rid of that sound.
Yeah. Oh, me talk.
Yeah, you talk.
Oh, me talk. Okay. Okay.
No, the other people.
The other people? The other people.
yeah.
What are we going to talk about? Let's see. So I heard a really interesting thing on the radio yesterday about the inauguration, and it was about J.D. Vance and how he kind of fulfilled the American dream. And I thought it was just so beautiful how they were talking about they had watched his movie and, his background and everything else, and how he just kind of fulfilled the what it truly means to come from nothing and just build yourself up. And I just thought that that was such a truthful moment and such a really neat thing to point out. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool to say and to see in that moment. So that was cool.
Well, explain a little bit more about what they said.
So they were pointing out that he, because his mom was with them at the inauguration, and they were talking about how his mom was in and out of his life and how he had lived with his grandma, and he had really come from nothing and just, been like, I think specifically they pointed out, like at one point he had fallen out of his car when he was just a kid and had run away and things like that. And his mom's drug use and addiction, and how she had to rebuild herself and then rebuild a relationship with him, and how much he had to overcome. And
have you seen that movie, by the way?
Oh, yes, I have. It's very good.
It is.
And I didn't realize that was who they were talking about when I watched it. And I just thought it was such a great movie and such a, pointful, inspiring movie that, because there is so much that people have to overcome in their lives, and to overcome all of that and be able to become the vice president and maybe even more one day. We'll see. I don't know. But, it's when you are able to show your true character and show who you are and be lifted up like that by others and be accepted by others for who you are based on your character and not your money and not your whatever, is a great thing, so that was pretty great. So I appreciated that other people recognized his obstacles and still accepted him for who he was and for his strengths and for hopefully for what he was going to be able to do for others and what he was going to be able to see and use his skills for to make things hopefully better. So.
Well, I think he's a prime example of how perseverance can definitely get you to places you want to go.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to give up.
Right.
And you don't have to I think there's a lot of people, and I'm not trying to bash on anyone, and I'm not trying to say anything negative towards anyone, but there's a lot of people that use a lot of excuses.
Oh, they really do.
Excuses for where they came from, what their lot in life is. Like, this is, I was only destined to be a drug dealer on the street corners because I grew up in a shithole.
Right.
And my mom did this or that, and I didn't know who my daddy was. And there's a lot of people that use a lot of excuses for why they don't strive for more.
Right.
And I am going to steal the words of Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
So Morgan Freeman was interviewed a few years ago, and this is not a black and white issue that I'm talking about, even though there's a lot of people that think only black people have it difficult. There are poor people. Go to the backwoods hills of West Virginia.
Right.
And you're going to find a lot of white people that are really bad shape. Go to very, very high density white, heavily methamphetamine using people, and it's quite a bit of white people.
Right.
So take the race side out of this equation altogether. Mm-hmm. But there are people who put a mindset in that say, this is where I was just born here and I didn't have an option and there was no way out for me. Right. I'm just stuck. This is what I was stuck with. But God also gave you talents, and God gave you the ability to do something, and you've either seen it or someone else has seen it, and maybe you just didn't own it. Maybe you just didn't embrace it. And maybe you still can, because I think there's no deadline to coming out of whatever it is that you were put in.
Right.
And there's also equally people who were given everything, silver spoon in their mouth, and they succumb to drug addiction and some other things. So there's a lot of differences in where you come from or whatever. But anyway, back to Morgan Freeman, when he was being interviewed about it, they said, well, some people just, that's just where they're born and they have no choice. They have no way out. And he said, the bus comes every 20 minutes.
Yep.
You can leave.
Yep.
It's a choice. You have to choose to do more. You have to choose to be more.
You have to
choose to strive for more.
Yeah.
Some people, and I have had people that have been like, oh, you're full of shit or whatever with some of the things that I've done.
Right.
But like when I was a mom, I was putting myself through college. I was on the dean's list. I also was a full-time police officer. I was a volunteer at a fire department, and I was in the National Guard.
Right.
And I was a full-time student.
Right.
And I was on the dean's list.
Right.
Because I had a 4.0. And I was a mother. And I did all of that at the same exact time because I wanted more.
Right.
Now, I had to choose not to go to the parties.
Right.
I mean, I was never invited because I was a cop. So they were like, yeah, she ain't coming.
Right.
But I had to choose that I wanted something on the other side of it.
Right.
I had to choose to work harder.
Yeah.
And in J.D. Vance's case, same thing.
Right.
He was stuck with and he wasn't, if you watch the movie, he wasn't that smart.
Right.
Like he wasn't like a knockover genius. His teachers weren't banging down his family's doors saying, he's a protege. He's a protege. We've got to do something with him.
He had to work twice.
He had to work twice as hard. He just had, and he struggled, and he didn't even want to try until his Meemaw.
Right.
Is why we have J.D. Vance.
Right.
We don't have J.D. Vance really, honestly, because of J.D. Vance.
Right.
We have J.D. Vance because of Meemaw. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Meemaw and her meanness, I can't remember what that line in the movie was. But I think it was something like, I hope you believe in God because I'm about to send you to him.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the line was, but it was something like that. You're going to meet him or something because she was so mad at him, But, the fact that she saw something in him or wanted something more for him, that she wasn't going to settle for mediocre from him.
Right.
And he came from a place that literally
that was accepted. Mediocre was accepted.
Being mediocre was acceptable.
Right.
And actually admirable.
Right.
Because everyone else was lower than mediocre.
Right.
So being just mediocre, having just a job and
keeping it, showing up on time,
and a house or an apartment that you still had,
right,
and a car,
right,
like that was all that was like
expected. You
are looked up at if you just achieved that,
right.
And it's very common for people in, we could both come from a military background,
right.
Yours is as a spouse, mine is both a spouse, a mother, and a wife.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that go into the military just because they want to get away from the mediocre, or
Right.
they want to get away from their drug addicted family, or their
Right.
their gangbanger family members. I mean, because there is a lot of that,
Right.
and it's one of those things. Like when I was on the panel this last weekend, which we'll talk about in a minute, one of the things I didn't even touch on is there's an assumption that people that are in the military have a great support system.
Right.
And they have a great family. Some do. Some have amazing families that are supportive the entire time they're in the military,
Right.
and rah, 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 and they're there every time they come back from a deployment or something. And then there are others who have no one.
Right.
I mean, there is an organization that you can join and be a part of that actually have where you can adopt a Marine for boot camp graduation weekend,
Yeah.
because they don't have anybody.
Right.
They don't have any family. And I've seen them. Like there was one when my son graduated that he didn't have anybody. And I saw him, and it was so sad.
Yeah.
And it was so devastating to me that to see this one Marine, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
But to see this one Marine while everyone else is coming off the bleachers and running out to greet their child. And, you know, I had a banner that was 8 feet long for
Yeah.
my son because I wanted his name to be all in one.
Right.
I did not want it to be in 2 lines. So
Right.
I made the banners. And he said, while they were standing there, you know, and they're all at attention and they're, you know, stoic and stuff. He's like, the guy next to him goes, "Is that your fucking mother?"
Yep,
And he
yep.
goes, "Yeah, you can't miss her because look at the fucking banner. These people are ridiculous."
Yep. Yep.
And he walked up. He's like, "You're ridiculous, Mom," but I love you. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But there's that one kid that the whole time he's just standing there all by himself.
Yep.
Nobody ever came to greet him.
Yeah.
No one came to get him and say, "You're with, you know, you're mine."
Yeah.
And, you know, now we're going to go eat and have fun and hang out and stuff. And I said, "Is that guy have no family?" And he said, "No, he doesn't." And I said, "Well, why don't we just go ask him if he wants to hang out with us and have pizza?"
We'll be
and-
ridiculous with you.
I'll treat you as ridiculous as I do.
You're mine now.
You know, and I felt so bad for him. But you think about, that's just boot camp graduation.
Right.
What
Now
about
the
when he
hard part's
returns
coming.
back from a deployment?
Right.
What about when he leaves for deployment and no one writes to him?
Right.
You know, he doesn't have that support system waiting back home when everyone else is getting mail call and they're getting all this mail and
The cookies and
yeah,
everything,
and you're
yeah.
not getting anything, you
Right.
know. So, and we don't know what he joined for. He may have
Right.
joined because his mom was a crackhead.
Right.
And for JD, he left and joined the Marine Corps to get away from his family.
Right.
You know, it wasn't stated that way in
Right.
the movie, but I would guarantee you
Well,
that
one
was
of the
his
great
reason.
things about the military, I think, that is very understated or rated is that they do like take everyone and put them at the same level, and then they train you for all situations in life to be able to meet the politicians, to be able to handle any dangerous and or political situation.
Yeah, and
to be
you
able to
all
hold your
start at
own.
the same level,
Yes.
and it's merit based. You
Yes.
earn the next rank,
Yep.
time and grade for
Yep.
the first couple ones,
Right.
and then you have to board when you get to the sergeant levels and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and you have to earn your ranking. And in the process of that, there are other things that you can
yeah.
be a part of, like we have the silent drill team.
Right.
That
and
is-
they expose you to trainings and situations that you, because of how you grew up, you may not have learned how to act or interact with others because of that.
Right, right.
So I think that's a really important thing that is not talked about.
Right.
But it's very important because it does teach you how to.
Well, and the cool thing with that too, like, so some people may not be familiar with, but the Marines are the only ones that serve on embassy duty.
Right.
And you're not selected for embassy duty based on where you were born,
Right.
or who your family is, or how you were raised.
Right.
You get selected because of your performance.
Yep.
You know, it is a special detail.
Right.
You have to put in for it.
Yep.
But they look at your what we call a jacket.
Right.
Your jacket, and they look through that and they see your merits, what you have done, what you have strove for. And you know, like if you've heard of embassy duty and you want to do embassy
Right.
duty, your drill or whoever you talk to is going to tell you how to get there.
Right.
Like you've got to do this and you got to do this and you got to do this. And no, you do not have to be a sergeant to be on embassy duty.
Right.
You can be, I think the lowest rank is Lance Corporal.
Right.
But
You have to be very clean
you have
with
to-
your record.
yeah, your record has to be stellar.
You have to
And if
stand
you're a
out.
Lance Corporal and you make it on embassy duty, you do have something in your jacket.
Right.
You know, you got a letter from somebody.
Yeah.
You got,
Yeah.
you did something to earn that.
Yeah.
And they're not officers.
Right.
None of them. There's only one commander over the embassy duty Marines at your duty station.
Right.
Whatever embassy you're at. It's all enlisted.
Right.
And there's a senior, NCO that oversees whoever is on embassy duty. So it's all enlisted personnel. They're not
Right.
and they're the elite, like the upper echelon of them.
Right.
Because being on embassy duty or White House duty
Right.
is a huge honor.
Right.
But you think quite often the pomp and circumstances, all officers, and this is all enlisted personnel.
Right.
They don't have officers serving in those positions.
Right.
So, it's pretty. I was married to an embassy duty Marine, so I do have some experience there, and it was pretty cool. But I'm sure J.D. Vance could have done something like that had he stayed in. He chose to use his, and there's a lot of people that this was a discussion even this weekend. We went to the inauguration. So it was exhausting.
Yes. It's recovery time now.
Yeah, we're in recovery zone. But there's a lot of people that say some crap about, well, JD only served 4 years.
Right.
I want to remind people, and there are some people. Now he did go to combat. He went to a war zone. He wasn't necessarily a grunt up front and center, but I want to remind people when they feel for themselves or for others that if you didn't serve in combat, you are not a veteran.
Right.
I want to clarify that, and the reason why you are wrong if you did not serve in a combat zone and you feel like you don't deserve to be called a veteran, or you served in a combat zone and you don't feel that they deserve to be called a veteran because they didn't serve in a combat zone, is the reason you are a veteran is when you take that oath and you stand up with somebody that had just read a scripture. And well, at least mine did. He read a scripture, and then he did the oath. And you stand up and you take that oath. Raise your right hand and swear before me your name. I, Tori, do solemnly swear. And you swear to stand up for the Constitution, and you swear to stand up against all. Stop. That was me. No, stop. It was me. It was okay. Get your toy. Get your rope. But you're swearing to stand up against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help you God.
Yeah.
And you never take that oath back, for one.
Right.
But for two, that is what we call writing a blank check.
Right.
You put your name down that says, if the time comes that I have to fight and defend to my death, I am Will you do me a favor? Will you just run really quick and get the dogs down here and shut the door?
Yeah.
Because they're barking at something. Come here. Because that's going to be just
Maybe, possibly.
if they at least just come down, then we can shut the door and they can't go back out there. But when you sign your name saying I'm willing to lay down my life for my fellow man, even if it is not ever asked of you, that does not mean that you're not a veteran. You're a veteran because you were willing to lay down your life for another person. And while she's gone, real quick, I'm going to repeat that again probably when she gets back. But let's real quick, while she runs upstairs, we are going to read what our even the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength. We have a tendency to want to do things ourselves. We know what we need and how it needs to be done. Asking for help seems like admitting defeat or at least weakness. Maybe it is because we've been let down too many times or because we don't trust others as much as we trust ourselves. Whatever the reason, it doesn't seem easy to ask for help. But this verse reminds us that we do have someone we can trust and count on, one who is stronger and wiser than anyone we can imagine. We can take comfort in knowing that when we ask God for help, we are getting help that is greater and stronger. Today, look for ways you can trust God and rely on his strength and his wisdom. Not only is God able, he is also willing. Heavenly Father, thank you for your greatness. Help me to find comfort today in knowing that you are in control. Help me to ask for your strength and wisdom. So what I was saying while you were up locking these guys in so they don't go running up there barking is, when you sign that dotted line, you're signing a blank check. Mm-hmm. And it means that you are willing to lay down your life for another.
Yes.
You have already taken on that sacrifice that should the time come where you're between the populace, the civilians, and the enemy, you will take the bullet for them.
Yes.
And because you have agreed that that's what you're willing to do, you are understanding that that could happen. That is where you earn that right.
Right.
And not everyone gets called to go to those things.
Right.
I got called. I got stop lost.
Yeah.
And I got pulled back when I had gotten out. And we were slated to go. I was actually wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And we got pulled out at the last minute and we never went. And I have always felt guilty about that. I've always felt like, I should have been there with other people that served. But I wasn't supposed to. Mm-hmm. Something happened and we got pulled and we didn't go. And my stop loss got stopped and I went about getting out. And there's also other people that feel a different way about somebody who only served 4 years.
Right.
Because they served 12 or they served 16 or they went all the way to retirement. Your husband went all the way to a retirement.
Right.
He served his entire 20 years in the Marine Corps. My husband served 12. I did 8. And that's one of those things when it comes to veterans and my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I don't care how long you served.
It's not a contest.
It's not a contest. Like for some people, they only served for 6, 8 years and maybe 12 or whatever. I do think you're an idiot if you go to 12 and you don't stick out the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have just stuck out.
Because at that point, you've got a rank that you've already got your retirement in the bag. So why are you, just Just
like when I
finish.
got out at 8, I made the conscious decision that if I re-enlist, I'm staying till 20,
Right.
which I wish I would have done, but
Right.
that's hindsight.
Right.
And you know, my husband got pulled out for other reasons. You know, he was married to some other witch, not this witch, and it was a forceful. You know, you do this or I, whatever.
Right.
I don't like people like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you marry somebody that's already in the military.
Right.
Like, dude, you already signed up for this as a wife.
Right.
Why do you feel like you have the right to say? I'm going to throw it in a different analogy. If you meet and marry a dude that his whole thing is about football,
Right.
like he loves football. He watches college football. He watches NFL, and his favorite team is whatever. And the first time you come over to his apartment, his house, whatever, and
know.
he's got all the memorabilia on the wall.
Don't take
like
it away
he's got
from him.
his little man cave, and he's got all his shirts in the frames, and he's got all his football. And then you get married, and you're like, "Why do you gotta watch football? Why do you? I wanted to do something today, and you gotta watch." You married him.
Right.
You already knew that was what his thing was.
Right.
Like, don't then tell him you either football or me, and it happens.
Yeah.
It absolutely happens. So when you look at military the same way, when you married him, you already knew he was in the military. You already knew he was a Marine or Army or
Right.
Air Force or in the Navy, whatever it is. You already knew that that's what they were doing. So then don't
Right.
try to dictate when enlistment comes back up that you can't re-enlist because I'll leave you if you re-enlist. You know,
Right.
that's unfair. Now I did get out because, and it's funny now that my kids are older, I had the discussion with my child, my youngest son. And he's like, "You're always gone."
Oh.
Because I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
And now that he's older and now he is a Marine himself,
like,
he's like,
"Oh."
"Why the fuck did you listen to an 8-year-old?"
Right. Yeah.
And he wasn't 8. I think he was 12 or something
Yeah.
like that. But still, he's like, "Why the hell were you taking advice from a child?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Because I was taking account of your needs.
Yeah.
Like you were feeling like I was abandoning you too much or whatever." But the whole point is when you are dealt a kind of a bad set of cards, I think you have the ability to take some of those cards and throw them back at the dealer and say, "Give me another card."
Right.
You know, you are not stuck with the hand you're dealt.
Right.
You can discard and say, "I want to try for something better.
Right.
I want to try for aces high."
Right.
You know, I want to try for a full house, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And when you have more passion and more perseverance and more drive than you do, woe is me.
Right.
You can pull your bootstraps up and you can pull yourself out of that.
Yes.
And I think what J.D. Vance has been able to accomplish is extraordinary.
I agree.
He's an ordinary person that has done an extraordinary thing.
Yes.
And you take somebody like Trump and you kind of go like, well, that's a given. You know, look where he came from. He was born with money,
Right.
made of money.
He had connections.
He has connections. He's
Right.
always been in the elite
Right.
crowd.
Right.
You know, it's not surprising that he made it to a level of even running for president.
Right.
You know, and there are other people, it has been said, he probably could have won as an independent.
Right.
He probably would have been the first one in the history of the U.S.
Right.
that won as an independent because, you know, we've had other ones who have ran as an independent, but they are not. Oh, okay. Just making sure that Donna sometimes sends us messages like, can't hear you.
Right. Yeah. Gotta
I'm like,
look at those.
she sent me a message real quick. I wanted to make sure it didn't say, can't hear
no
you.
sound. That would really suck.
Oh, yeah. We've only done that a time or two.
Right.
But you know that he had the ability to like do whatever. And, you know, there's been others who have ran as, say, independents, like Ross Perot, if you remember when Ross Perot
yes.
ran. He was a very, very wealthy businessman, but nobody knew who he was.
Right.
Absolutely no one knew who this man was.
Right.
So there was no popularity behind him as well as his money.
Right.
Now, Trump, he was a well-known household figure.
Right.
Everyone knew who Trump was because of The Apprentice, and he was, you know, Trump Towers.
Right.
And, you know, so everybody knew who Trump was, and he had the money.
Right.
Nobody knew who J.D. Vance was.
Right.
Like, nobody knew who this kid was. And, you know, the fact that he put himself through college and an Ivy League college at that was all merit based because he, unfortunately, because we do have DEI type stuff at even the universities, he wasn't going to be the top thing they're going to select.
Right.
You had to really show that you had the merit to
Right.
earn that scholarship.
Right.
And he had his GI Bill, and he used it to go to Ohio State and do well,
Right.
do extremely well, and get offered, you know, to go to the next level. And he used that, and he did, and he got there. And then he wanted to make change for his, you know, fellow man, and started running into the political arena. And he didn't do much of anything in that sense because it wasn't there long enough to really do anything. But people saw who he was
Right.
and what he was about,
Right.
and that he was authentic.
Right. I think that's key. Is
And I think
people
that's the-
respond to authenticity.
I think that's the biggest thing right now is people are really wanting authentic.
Yeah.
They are so sick of the fakery
Right.
and the setup and lies. I think it's also why so many people like and gravitate towards Trump too, is because you may not always like what he says or maybe how he says it,
Right.
but I appreciate more somebody just saying it not necessarily the way it should sound,
Right.
but at least telling the truth, you know,
Right.
saying, and sure, does he, you know, just, what am I looking for?
Word vomit.
Yeah, does he
things
word
with
vomit?
Things that
Does he
could-
exaggerate a little bit on
Right.
something sometimes? Yeah, you know, like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. But there's many, many videos and people out there saying they are doing it. So, you know, it's not all bullshit.
Right.
Anyway, so I think the fact that he has overcome all of the obstacles that were set before him based on his lot in life,
Right.
where he came from, he should never be the vice president of the United States.
Right.
And seeing his mom, you know, that's also something for people out there. When you have a family member, especially a parent,
Right.
that
That's so
has harmed you,
something.
hurt you,
Right. Something so many people can understand and
yeah.
relate to.
did drugs and abandoned you and wasn't there for you.
Yeah.
That the relationship has been able to rebuild with her shows other people that forgiveness is a huge thing.
Yeah.
You and moving, you can't ever, I hate the phrase move on.
Right.
There is no moving on from
Right.
being treated poorly. There is
Right.
no moving on from a loss. There is no moving on from this or moving on from that. But there's moving forward.
There's rebuilding.
Yeah, you can
or
move
building.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or building or rebuilding.
Yeah.
For some people, you know, you had something that you had and it was taken away.
Yeah.
For some people, you had something and then they broke it.
Yep.
So you have to be open-minded enough to forgive move forward. So I think for him to forgive his mother for the things that she lacked, and and there's a fine balance, I think, between people understanding it's an addiction. It's actually a condition,
Right.
and choice that you started it in the first place.
Right.
Because that's where people go like, well, it's a choice to do drugs.
Right.
And then they go, well, it's an illness. It's a sickness. Addiction is, whether it's alcohol or drugs, it's a sickness.
Right.
And yes, there are some people that use that as an excuse
Right.
for bad behavior. But there is a line and a balance on those scales of between it's an illness and we have to forgive them because it's an illness, and the desire not to forgive them because there was a choice. At some point in time, this was down here.
Right.
Choice was here.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even see illness.
Yeah.
And it's only until you've done it enough times where the illness and the choice were then balanced, and then now we're to the point of the illness is now up here.
Yeah.
And how do you forgive that person?
I hate the word forgiveness.
I do too. I hate the
in
word sorry.
those situations specifically, not in all situations, but in those situations, I hate the word forgiveness. There are some things that shouldn't be forgiven. You can't, you know what I mean? But maybe letting it go enough that you can heal so that you can.
Well, I mean, that's a form of forgiveness. You have to forgive a little bit to. I mean, there's probably a different word you could use, but
Yeah.
you have to forgive a little bit to be able to move forward.
Maybe.
To be able to give that person even the chance of something, you have to have forgiven
Maybe not
them.
giving them control.
Yeah. And forgiveness, as they say, remember, forgiveness is more for yourself than it
Yeah.
is for them, blah, blah, blah. But I dislike, a lot of times I dislike the reference of forgiveness. I also hate the word sorry.
Yeah.
I bloody hate the word sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want, when you do something to me,
Right.
I don't want a sorry,
Right.
because to me it is so empty.
Right.
It means so nothing.
Especially with the way people use it now.
Uh,
Let's figure out how we can avoid not doing it again.
When I
Let's
say
figure
something,
out
and
why
trust
you
me,
did
in the
it.
background, Christy and I've gone to blows over not literally blows,
Right.
but verbally over something that we want to get into
Yeah.
or we want to do or whatever, and we hash it out.
Yeah.
Like her and I will hash it out. And when it's done and said, I have apologized.
Right.
But I don't ever say I'm sorry.
Right.
I do not use that word. I
Yeah.
say I apologize for getting heated.
Yeah.
I apologize I'm just really passionate about
Right.
this.
But it's never
So
and you don't use personal attacks, which
No.
is a huge thing because a lot of, you know what I mean?
I use
So it's-
feeling words.
Yeah.
But also we don't do that personal.
Right.
It's always
This is
business
what's-
related.
Yeah.
Because I'm really good at separating business from personal.
Right.
And you are too. So
Yeah.
it's like there are a lot of people that if you argue or disagree on a business thing, it's
They bring
also
up stuff
personal
from
your personal life.
yeah.
like,
it's
that has
what is
nothing
that?
to
Yeah,
fucking
that's
do with
not-
this.
That's not it.
You
What
know,
are doing?
but you have to be able to. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to forgive that person who
Yeah,
asked
absolutely.
for the apology to move forward.
Right.
But what I don't like, and I think this is what you mean by it, I don't like empty forgiveness.
Yeah.
They didn't deserve it. They
Right.
didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Or open forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, this is not the Catholic Church where you can just go
Right.
get your abolished over and over again for
Right.
the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
But if you truly ask for forgiveness or you truly apologize and you ask for forgiveness, and I'm willing to give you that grace and that forgiveness,
Right.
then we can move forward.
Yep.
If you've never asked for it, I don't just arbitrarily give
Right.
that to you, and I don't think it's deserved.
Right.
But for the life that he was given, he chose to get on the bus.
Yep.
He chose that bus that comes every 20 minutes and can take you out of
Exactly.
your circumstances.
Yeah.
You have a choice
Absolutely.
to leave the circumstances you were given.
Yes.
And he chose to leave that, and he chose to do more, and he strove for the best. He wanted the best. And even in his movie, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie.
It is. Hillbilly Eulogy. Right.
Hillbillyology. It's a dictionary of hillbillyism.
Yeah.
It's an
we can talk.
we can talk today. But it's also the same thing where you get people that go, well, you're not a hillbilly, you're an elite now. How did you get to go to an Ivy League college when you're a hillbilly and because he
worked for it.
he worked for it.
Yeah.
He got a high GPA in college that the GI Bill paid for. And yes, you can get scholarships and go somewhere else. But he didn't strive for mediocre.
Right.
He strived for the best. And he used the Marine Corps to get there.
Yep.
And I have no qualms about that, because while he was a Marine, even if it was just 4 years, during those 4 years, he was the best Marine he could be,
Yep.
because he earned the merits he earned. And he did serve in a deployment. And I have utmost respect for him. I really, really like him. And, he even said he didn't deserve his wife when he was going to ask her to marry him. Like, I don't deserve you. And, look at my family. Look at where I come from. Like, you shouldn't be with me. And she had to convince him that he was worth it.
Right.
And and I think he wouldn't also be where he is if he didn't have an amazing wife that was supporting him.
Right.
And
who you surround yourself with is important. And
Yeah.
absolutely.
as my husband says, I says, oh, every good man is there, and he will jump in, and they say supported by a great woman. He
Absolutely.
says being prodded by a pitchfork by a good woman.
Yep.
And
It's true.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't just be nice
Right.
back there going, honey, I believe in you. I think you can do
Right.
it. Sometimes you need to poke them with a pitchfork
Right.
and say, go after that.
Exactly.
Go get it, because I believe in you and I think you can
Exactly.
do it. And he's not a huge ego person.
Right.
That's what I like also about him. Like, he is so down to earth. So my my son Andy, and it was Vivek Ramaswamy was at one of those things during the campaigning time, and what did they call it? I don't remember. But anyway, he went to one of those and he asked a question, and it's the same reason I like Vivek, because he will talk to the regular person in the room.
Right.
Like, he's not full of himself so much that he's not willing to talk to the people.
Right.
And that's how JD Vance is. And Trump is that way too. If you get in front of Trump, like, he will genuinely and legitimately greet people. So there's a story. I used to go and do a lot of events, and I was at Trump Hotel getting ready for another event I was getting ready to do, and I was actually meeting with the head of catering there. And this was in Southern California, and our server was this really cute little Hispanic girl, and I asked her, have you ever met Trump? Like, has he ever come here and you've been here? And she's like, oh yeah, actually I have. And this was between 2016 and the 2020 election. I think this was like 2018 or something like that. And so she said, yeah, actually not that long ago he was here and I was on duty. And quite often when they come, the same people are not on shift at the time because you don't know that he's coming. And, he always goes up and there's a private area where they go. But when he came in and then certain servers or people are selected, you're going up there. Mm-hmm. And she got selected on the team to go up and serve those guys upstairs. And so there's a whole crew of them coming. And it was at the exact same time that Trump and his entourage were getting ready to go up the stairs. And here's these servers coming because, they're going to try to get up there and they're going to wait for him and his people to go. And Trump stopped his whole entourage and says, no, let them have the stairs. Right. And he backs away and he stopped every one of them and shook every one of their hands and said, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. And instead of making them wait because don't you know who I am? Right. He was like, no, they're working. They have a job to do. Right. Let them go ahead of us. And she said it wasn't done like, let them go so they can get my table ready attitude. It was respectful. Right. And of course he tipped very highly, she said. And when they left, the tip that he left, I'm not even going to say it, but it was a lot of money. Right. But he said, make sure that all the servers downstairs and all the staff downstairs that weren't up here, they all get the same amount. Nice. So he left enough tip for everybody to get, and it was over $100 a person. Yeah. Whether they were helping him or not. Yeah. I mean, yes, he owns Trump hotels, and this was the golf resort there in Southern California, but he doesn't have to do that. Right. And I also get a little irritated with people where they think that just because a celebrity came in to eat, they should leave a $2,000 tip. Right. No. Right. No, there is no requirement for that. I mean, it's cool when they do above and beyond for whatever reason. I prefer it when it's not on the media because when it ends up on the media, I think you did it for, exactly. I think you did it to get the attention. Yeah. Look at me. Look how great I am. Right. The circumstance he grew up in versus the circumstance that J.D. Vance grew up in, you would never think that they could make it to the same place. Right. And no, they're not the same level. One is vice president and the other one's president. But I think we have a really good team because I also think that JD can keep Trump grounded. Right. With the real people. Like, because JD understands what it's like for the average person. Yeah. So he can help bring that down. And Trump genuinely likes actual advice. Right. He actually listens when people say, well, have you thought about it this way? Right. He probably doesn't like it if somebody says, sir, you're wrong. Right. But if you say, hey, have you thought of looking at it from this perspective? Right. He actually likes that. I mean, you can see it when he's given advice and information. But he also sticks with, I was told don't do this in your speech. Don't say this. Right. And I like it, so I'm saying it anyway. Right. Everybody said don't say this, but I'm saying it. Okay. Right. Yeah. And sometimes he's like, yeah, I don't care what you have to say. I'm doing this. But I think it really gears us for a really, really great next few terms. Yeah. Because if JD gets elected to president after this, we could potentially have 12 years of recovery for this country. Hopefully. Because we kind of need 12 years of recovery and then some. But if you do good by the people, you will get reelected. Right. And Trump can't be reelected, but JD can. Right. So I think what they did was amazing. Yeah. So anyway, we talked on it for a brief moment. We went to DC We went to the inauguration stuff. We went to an amazing ball.
We did.
We even got, both of us were dressed by a fashion designer, Andre Soriano.
That was fun.
That was fun. And my dress was very heavy,
Yeah,
but it was beautiful.
it was.
I was hot. I was hot quite a bit. Were you hot, or was it comfortable?
I was comfortable.
Because her dress had, I will pull up pictures. I have them somewhere.
Oh boy.
But let me think. Can't think on my brain right now. But you didn't have sleeves on yours, so yours
No.
was probably more.
Yeah, it wasn't cold, but I
cooler.
definitely wasn't hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I got hot, but it was easy for me to take Charlotte and go take her outside for
Yeah.
a quick,
Oh my
quick
God,
walk.
it was so cold
Oh,
outside.
I loved it when I went outside though,
Oh,
because
my
it was
goodness.
so cold and I was so hot that I would go outside and be like, okay, I feel good.
No, there was nothing acceptable about the weather, and there was a lot of ice, and there was a lot of snow. That was not okay. None of that was okay. Not a fan of
That's so
those
funny.
things.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. But I mean, I was good with being able to go outside, let her go potty, because of course Princess Charlotte went with us, and
Or a pretty tutu.
in her pretty little dress, and lots of people asked to take pictures with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that were saying let me take pictures with her, and it was quite cute. All the pictures that that she took with people, and they started calling her the Trump dog,
Yeah.
and it was fun.
Yeah.
So I'm currently sending a few pictures to Donna. So talk a second about how did you like what we did?
I had a good time. That was really fun meeting everyone and I had some great conversations with a lot of people. They were extremely nice. They gave me lots of information, and I mean, I would have never been brave enough to talk to any of them or even seen any of them outside of any of those events. So that was fun.
Did anyone push you to go talk to people?
Oh, yes, you definitely forced me to do that quite a few times, which was a little nerve-wracking. I'm not the person that likes to force myself on anyone, so I got shoved in the direction of a few people a few times. Got a couple job offers, which were fun, but, not holding them too
Sober or
seriously.
drunken?
That's debatable in some cases, but we won't bring that up if they ever come up again. Because who cares, right? That's not the point. They were offers, and that's all that matters. And I feel
we
like
shook on it.
we literally shook on it more than once. So, that's all that matters, I think, is that we shook on it, and they made offers. So, I think they stand, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think,
Yeah, for sure.
I think once you make an offer, I should be able to hold you to that offer.
Absolutely, you should. Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah. Let's see, what else?
And we went to a conference.
We did. We went to a conference, learned a lot of fun things about
Cryptocurrency.
and people's intentions for the next couple of years. It was really fun to hear what people were intending to do with the new policies and the new opportunities that were coming up, and how they were going to partner with each other on those opportunities, and just, be in the same room with some of those people, because that was pretty inspiring. So I'm excited to see where all of that goes and where we kind of fall into play with some of that. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of movers and shakers that are trying
For
to
sure.
get momentum for this country and make some things happen, which I think are really great.
Yeah.
And there are people that are like, you think about celebrities and people that are popular, and you don't think about the people that are popular within a business community.
Yeah.
And the people that are popular within a political, because you think celebrities or popular people, you only think Hollywood, and there's people that are very popular or well known within business communities.
Yeah.
And there are different types of business communities. There's a health business community, there's the tech business industry, there's the car industry, and there's finance industry.
Right.
And there's people that are popular in a multitude of different avenues, and being able to see people
Come
that
together.
are in those different walks of life that
Yeah.
come together at one event, and you can say, wow, there's a lot that
Breathing the same air as Martin Luther King's niece was,
granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Granddaughter was,
Yeah.
the
I
whoops.
like being in the same room with his granddaughter.
Yeah.
It's really interesting what her fight is for
Oh, absolutely.
versus what his fight was for.
Right.
And her fight is for women
Absolutely.
and mothers,
Yes.
and her concern and prison reform. And her
Yeah.
concern is with the low birth rate we're having right
Yeah.
now, and that there's more black babies being aborted than there are being born.
Yeah.
And she has a point there.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a huge advocate for or against. I've never taken a huge stance. I have
Yeah.
my own personal belief, my own personal opinion about it. But what I don't think that we should be listening to is a woman who started abortion with words that are like, we need to eradicate these weeds.
Right.
Because that is what she said. And she was referring to black people. So that shouldn't be who you're supporting.
Yeah.
If you really truly are for anti-racism and for black people and African Americans or whatever, the person you shouldn't be looking up to is the person that says we need to eradicate these weeds.
Right.
Because that to me is not pro favor. I've also never understood how you can refer to something as Planned Parenthood
Right.
when there's no planning or parenthood involved. No, it's Planned No Parenthood.
Yeah.
It should be called Planned Unparenthood, not Parenthood, because we're not trying to teach them how to be parents.
But yeah, it was really neat to have conversations with her and a few others. And
Yeah. And so there was quite a few really good people there. Joy Villa was there, and she sang at the ball, and she looked beautiful.
she did.
And we didn't go to as many balls as she did.
I
think she
wanted
went to every ball.
Die with the one little bit of energy I had for the one and the conferences. And
Now there was other things that we were invited to that we didn't go to because, for one, with my health issues,
right,
standing in line for anything for anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 hours, I can't do.
right,
I physically cannot do it. I would become a medical emergency. And I think it's in poor taste when you take on a challenge that is going to end up with an ambulance ride. You should already check yourself off of that list. I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that to everyone around us.
It's like when there's a fire
Yeah.
or a tornado or a hurricane disaster.
Yeah.
and you want to rush in and help, but you're fat, out of weight, or
Well,
overweight,
that's really mean to say.
overweight, or physically challenged, like you're already injured yourself.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to bring everybody down.
Don't go into a place where you are now a victim.
Right.
You're now you're now
Yeah, now
something that
made it
they
worse.
have to stop helping the people they need to help, because now they got to help
Right.
you.
Now we're on a second rescue mission.
Don't become the problem.
Right.
So if you're aware that you have a challenge that may be difficult to overcome, and the obstacles may be bigger than you're able to handle, maybe don't go. That's my thoughts on it.
My 2 cents.
I'm gonna share real quick the screen.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. She's gonna share the screen. Okay, so here is Charlotte. This was at the conference. I think somewhere there's a picture of me at the conference, but I don't know, because Christy hasn't sent me a fucking picture yet. Not one since the entire weekend that she took any of them.
I will do that.
I'm just kidding. I don't know that I've sent you any either.
Yeah, no. So it works both ways.
Hey, I just sent them to Donna, so we had them on here, because I'm like, I haven't sent any either.
Nice.
Jethro, what are you doing?
He's coming up to love me.
He's like, I want to sit with you.
Okay. Hi,
Okay. He just loves her. So this is Charlotte in her little tutu dress as we were at the conference. She's so cute.
Yeah.
And there's Joy and Andre. After, I think that was right after Andre's speech, or right after. Well, he wasn't. He didn't do a speech.
No, that was
we each were on on a panel, discussion panel, which was really cool. And here's Joy on one of the one I think the first one she was on, or the second one. There's Christy and I at kind of the end of the conference part. They're taking some pictures. Here is Charlotte in her little dress at the ball, right before we took our pictures together. We took a couple of her. And then obviously Christy and I took some pictures together. And Charlotte in her cute little purple tutu dress. Everyone just loved Charlotte. They were like, she was adorable. She was the belle of the ball. Everyone loved her. And I can't tell you how many people walked up to me saying, can I take a picture with your dog? Can I take a picture with your dog? And some people, as we'd walk by, they'd go, oh, there's the Trump dog. There's the Trump dog. So it was really cute.
Yeah.
And Christy looked amazing in her gown. And we both
did horrify the designer. We horrified him.
We did.
Yes.
Tell that story.
So we got there really late at night, and he gave us our dresses, and he said, you guys have heels, right? And no was our answer, because
No, it wasn't just no.
No. Yeah. It was,
I said no. I'm wearing flat tennis shoes.
yes. Yes. And that was the wrong answer. We stuck to our guns. We should have taken pictures of our tennis shoes. We missed out on that opportunity. And I didn't even wear mine. I should have brought them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
We meant to do that.
They were not just tennis shoes.
They were blingy shoes.
They were sequins.
This is
They
Andre
were
Soriano, the
gorgeous.
designer that's on the screen right now. I took a picture with him.
But that is not the answer to give
Enjoy.
a really formal designer. Like that was an absolute horror to him. But we stuck to our guns, so that was fun.
Yeah,
for me personally,
that was.
I was mortifying, but fun.
That was fun.
Because I would have fallen on my face every 2 seconds if I would have worn heels.
Well,
I'm not a heels person.
and I would not have been able to walk more than been able to walk in.
And thank you for saying I was doing it for you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I
you-
gave you an out.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I was totally doing it for Tori. That was it. It was all in support of Tori. It was not because I'm a clumsy mofo that falls every 5 minutes when I'm in heels and don't know how to walk
She
on
just
them.
did it in solidarity.
I did it
for
in
me.
solidarity for Tori. It was a friendship thing, not because I'm clumsy. It's totally it.
Yeah. See, remember that from here on out.
Yeah.
Anything we do, I'm just doing it for solidarity.
I'm doing it because I love her, not because I'm clumsy.
She can't walk for shit, so I'm gonna go not walk for
fell
shit
before
together.
it even started, and I might need surgery. We're hoping not, but I might actually need surgery
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
shoulder because of my wipeout.
She slipped on the ice and
I hadn't even started yet.
completely wiped out her shoulder
Completely wiped it out.
and
Oh, God.
landed. And the funny part is,
She called.
So-
she was smarter than me.
so I am going to tell this because it's funny. So I go to pick her up from her house because we're driving my car and I have the topper on my car to put the rest of our stuff in. It was like putting Tetris together in the car in the trunk so that we had room.
Yeah.
And so I pull up to the house and nobody's outside.
Because it's
So-
like 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's like 5 a.m. So I walk around the front of the house, and as soon as I got to the sidewalk, I was like, "Yeah, oh no, that's not going to happen because that's straight ice rink."
Right.
So I walked across the grass to the front door. And I mean, the grass was so icy that it was crunching down and my footprints were staying where they were. And when I got around to where the bush was, like the only way over to the door was you had to get on the sidewalk.
Yep.
And I said, fuck that, and turned around and went right back to the car. I'm like, nope, I will go call from the phone and say I'm out by your garage.
Yep.
And this dumb bitch,
This dumb bitch.
I love you anyway.
I love you
but
too.
she walked out on that ice skating rink
Yeah. With my coffee cup in my hand.
with her coffee cup in her hand, and she made it all the way
in. So I
on
was
that
good for a minute.
icy ice rink that she had out front. You can buy a bag of salt.
Yeah. And we have one in the garage. I didn't even know it was there. I don't know what I was. Oh my God. But yeah, I got all the way to the end and hit something, and I was going because I was like, "Oh God, I gotta
Ice.
tell her not
Ice.
to.
You
I gotta
hit
tell her
ice.
not to walk across the ice. I gotta tell her it's not safe. So I'm gonna meet her at her car, which Jesse apparently did by walking through the garage, which was much smarter. And I get to the end to get to your car, and I just wiped out and like.
And
broke
of course,
the glass.
nobody was there.
No
'cause
one was there because
Jesse got me. Jesse got me from the garage, and I'm inside. And we find out Christy ate it out on the sidewalk.
I'm bleeding, the coffee cups everywhere. My arms all messed
Coffee
up.
cup broke and cut her
Yeah.
fingers. And
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So that was fun.
hit her elbow, hit her shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, it probably jammed up into
Yeah,
your
I
shoulder.
think so. Yeah, they think it's like in my shoulder somewhere is what the doctor's thinking. So I got to get an MRI tomorrow. They want to put a sling on it. I don't own a sling. So I got to get a sling, got to hold it up, and then we're going to do an
Well,
MRI.
we're going to go up and go through my medical supplies because I'm sure I have a sling.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put her in a sling.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is helpful. I do have some skills.
Yeah. I've been taking lots of meds and since yesterday. Yesterday I woke up and I couldn't even move it at all. And it's like if I lay it a certain way, that my hand a certain way, then that's why they think it might need surgery, is because depending on the way
Sit up straight. Because the way you were sitting, I couldn't tell, but it seems like it wants to droop down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
What does my coffee cup say? It's fine.
great.
I'm fine. Everything is fine.
Yep. So obviously heels are not.
All I'm going to say is if you ever hear any of your friends or family saying any of that sort, it's fine, I'm fine, everything is fine. it is not.
It is not.
You need to go and dig a little deeper because
Yep,
that is
exactly.
primarily the phrase of everything is not great.
Everything is not okay, and everyone needs to bear down for something.
Bear down.
Bear down. Bear down. It's about to hit.
Yeah, exactly. So Christy was in pain this whole time.
Yeah.
And what a trooper, because she really sucked it up and was very helpful for me
Yeah.
on some of the things I couldn't do. And let me tell you, we brought enough shit with us
Whew, that was a fun time. Yeah.
that we
was
could have clothed a homeless camp.
probably. Yeah. And fed some too with the food and the.
Well, we were pretty smart. We did bring
We brought some
food.
Yeah. That
so we
was
had some
genius.
snacky
Yeah.
stuff, some boiled
Yeah,
eggs.
for
and
sure.
It was healthy food. We didn't bring a bunch of garbage. I don't
Right.
eat a lot of unhealthy food.
No, I'm proud of the way we ate because that could have been bad.
Yeah. Even at the ball, I only
Yeah.
had salad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of all that was left, but
Yes,
Well,
that
I
was all
mean-
that was really left.
well, there was more left than that. Just the stuff that was left, I wouldn't eat because I don't eat mussels, and so that wasn't going to happen. But anyway, it was okay because I didn't want to eat a heavy anything
Right.
at an event like that. Anyway.
Yeah, you really don't because
I
then
really
you're just
don't.
not.
I don't feel good
Yeah.
when I eat heavy, and I don't eat a lot of food to begin with.
Right.
I
The
mean,
dessert was awesome.
I loved the desserts.
Yes.
They were small,
Right.
but
which is
man, were they perfect because
Exactly.
like a couple little bites,
Yeah, is all you
and
need.
I had coffee.
I really have not done coffee after desserts up until like I've only done it like 2 or 3 times in my lifetime, but man, does it hit the spot
It
in
really
those
does.
situations.
It really
It's
does.
such a genius idea.
Yeah, having a dessert and coffee is so
Yeah.
nice after
Yeah.
a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And I mean the salad was amazing.
Yeah, really. You had 2 on there. Did you know that?
Okay. Yeah.
There was like a ginger one and then there was a regular one. I
Oh,
gave you
okay.
2. Yep.
I just kind of mixed them together.
See,
so
oh, that was smart.
They were
Yeah.
so I made it one. But that's what happens when you're not a meat eater.
Right.
You're, the person is going to bring you not meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times those type of buffet things don't have.
Oh, and that was fun. I'm sure I look like a gem bringing 2 plates with me, but I don't care.
I don't think so because there was so many people there that kind of knew that
I
we
don't-
were always
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So when like I had several people come up to me when I was sitting there by myself for
Yeah.
a long time with nothing.
Yeah.
That came up and said, "Did you need somebody to get you some food?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, Christy's out getting
She's
it for
getting
us."
it.
She's over there
Taking forever.
talking in line and
Yeah.
and meeting people, but waiting
Yeah.
in line.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was going to take a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know how long the line was because I was sitting over in my place.
Yeah.
But we were. It wasn't.
We made a good team.
It wasn't the concern that I couldn't go stand in the line and get the food.
Right.
It was that I had Charlotte
Right.
walking through the crowd of people with
Charlotte
Charlotte
and the food.
because
and the-
people
yeah.
were stepping on my dress.
Yeah, oh my God.
And I don't
Yeah.
do well with the jerking motions.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte is there.
Yeah.
But standing in line with her with a plate of food, if somebody stepped on her tail
Oh, yeah,
or
for
bumped
sure.
into her or whatever when I have a plate of food,
That would have been a mess.
it's a little bit harder to
We made a
control
good
the
team.
leash.
Yeah.
So it was just smarter to just
Absolutely. Yeah.
and the reason also for it is like I said, well, if you can't, when you get back, I'll go.
Yeah.
But if we had done it that way, I'd have gotten nothing
Yeah.
at
Oh,
all.
yeah. There
Like
wasn't
everything
much
would have been
left.
gone by
Yeah.
the time I got there.
Yeah.
So we did well with the way that we did it. So
Yeah,
I think
for
that
sure.
was good.
For sure. It was fun.
But the sad part is we did have really great tickets
Yeah.
for the actual swearing in ceremony.
Yeah.
And
Then they moved it
they
indoors.
moved it
'cause the weather.
indoors because of the weather.
Yeah.
I think there was a
Threat.
threat.
Yeah.
I personally think there was a threat. It was cold.
No, we have no.
I mean, it was
confirmed resources
cold.
for that, but it was so.
Yeah, we have
cold.
no confirmed resources or anything that says that there was an active threat. But I think that they were trying to get Trump to do it indoors the entire time. And they finally got a good enough reason that he complied with it because of the cold.
Yeah.
And it was sunny.
It was sunny.
But it was
cold. It was painfully cold.
It was like 15, 18 degrees, 20 degrees, something like that. It was so cold outside. So,
and that wind hurt.
yeah, the wind was really bad. So I really wasn't, I mean, I was sad we didn't get to see it,
Right.
but we watched it. We went to a watch party. So
Yeah.
we watched it from a watch party because all the different groups of people that were already going to be at the inauguration, up front and you know, we could have been to some of the other stuff, but like the parade that they did indoors, we had VIP tickets to even be able to get into there.
Yeah.
But there was still, even for the really good tickets, it was going to be like a 2-hour wait or whatever to get inside.
Yeah.
A minimum.
Right.
And I just didn't feel very good or comfortable standing out in that cold for 2 to 3 hours trying to get in with nowhere for me. And there was no guarantee of any place to sit. So if there was, it would be like a wall or a this or a that, which would have been freezing cold to sit on. So I think the smarter option was you can watch it on screen.
Yeah.
You know, because I do have enough common sense. Don't fall over and pass out or anything. But I have enough common sense to say that's not smart. And I also have not a large enough ego to think, but I have to get in there because Trump's going to stop and talk directly to me.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Right.
So, like, I don't have to be there as much as I wanted to be.
Right.
And witnessing it in person. But we got to go to a really, really amazing ball. We got to go to a great conference.
Right.
And I spoke. I had a speech. And it wasn't so much a speech as I was on a panel and they ask a question and everyone on the panel talks and gives their information. And then they ask another question and you answer that one. I think there was like 4 questions on my panel.
Yeah.
And then it goes to another panel. So I think I did well. What did you think?
I think you did really well. I think your points were well received. I think that your points were well organized and addressed the questions as they were asked, and stayed to the point.
Yeah, ironically, I did actually.
Yeah.
I was I was impressed with myself because I usually go off on some rabbit hole somewhere, and I kind of stayed somewhat
to the point.
Yeah. And I didn't meander on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
There was a few people that it felt like they did.
Yeah.
But I did let it go. And you know, my focus is on veterans and mental health and addiction and sobriety. That's what our show is about.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking towards. So we have 8 minutes left. We're going to do our last couple things, but we're also going to announce now on Friday. I am leaving on Friday morning for Florida because I am going on a cruise with my mother-in-law. So I will not be here. I'm going to try to do some shows from the ship if I can. Not sure how that's going to work out. Christy might do some with me if I go on from the ship.
Yeah, with you.
But she's like, I'm not doing it by myself.
No.
So that's okay.
Yeah, not there yet, guys. Sorry. I'm still learning. Don't understand the equipment quite yet.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We do good as a team.
We do.
So it's okay if she misses a couple days. So we'll basically be out for a week.
Yeah.
Because we start our cruise on the 27th, and we will be back when I get back from my cruise.
Yeah.
So I should be back on the 1st of February back here. Let me look at my calendar really quick. But I'm pretty sure I will be back here. Yeah, I'll be back on the 1st or the 2nd at the latest. But we are going to do February is obviously there's the 14th of February is Valentine's Day, and all about couples and love and stuff like that. And a lot of times people look at February as the month of love. So we are going to do 28 days of self-love, and we're going to talk about different things that you can do each day. We may have an actual topic that we're talking about, but every single day we're going to give you a challenge to do for yourself that day or the next day. And we would love it if people would come on and say what they did, or if they did something for self-love, and share their moments of self-love and how it made you feel too when you gave yourself some of your own love. Because I know I have a hard time with it myself.
Yeah.
Telling myself good things sometimes is very difficult.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That it makes it good for this little quote word thingy that I have out of my little bucket of shit. That's what it says. What is it called? The little box of motivational shit, because we all need a kick in the ass sometimes. So today's you are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So yes, I do swear sometimes. Sorry guys. I try
swear
not to
more
do
than
it all
I
the
should. Let's be honest, it happens.
Yeah, I try not to do it all the time, but yeah, it does happen. It is. So I'm going to read our little scripture, and then we will be ready for tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. This foolish plan of God is wiser than the wisest of human plans. And God's weakness is stronger than the greatest of human strengths. 1 Corinthians 1:25, NLT version. Have you ever found it difficult to explain God to someone, where it seems like any word you use just doesn't quite accurately describe him? It can be frustrating trying to understand God. This frustration can either turn us away from God because we don't fully understand him, or it can cause us to worship him. The greatest example of his perfect plan and strength is Jesus. History is filled with attempts to deal with the problems of sin in our lives, but nothing has been successful. Through God's perfect plan, he sent Jesus to overcome sin on our behalf. Tonight, pause and thank God for his wisdom. Thank God that no matter what comes your way, he is stronger. Worship him. Thank him. Tonight, rest in knowing that he is on your side. Heavenly Father, thank you for your perfect and infinite wisdom and strength. May I try to not live my life in my own understanding and strength, but in yours. What are you trying to accomplish in your own strength that you can trust God with? Yeah, I have some up and coming things that I am going to be dealing with. I also have some medical things that I got to deal with when I get back from my cruise. So I need to give that to God and trust in his strength to get me through some of those things that I've got to deal with. You've got your shoulder that you've got to deal with. But quite often we take on things that, we could do together with God, that he could help us through, whether it's emotionally or physically. When you have challenges, it is okay to put it to God and let him direct you or lead you. And if you pay attention and watch, the signs are there, what he wants you to do, where he wants you to go. And if you listen, you'll hear him give you the directions. If you truly open up your mind and listen. And I'm trying really hard to do everything holistically myself as much as I possibly can. I don't want to become pharma dependent. So I am doing everything I can not to be pharma dependent. And Jethro is walking around in circles with his rope because he's so proud of that rope. He just loves his rope. We call it the Jeff rope.
Nice.
Hey, Jeff rope. Get your Jeff rope. Get your Jeff rope. Yes, the sweet boy. He's such a sweetie. I love him so much. I'm such a good. Yeah, you're such a good boy. Oh, him bringing him a rope to show me. I love these dogs, and I tell you what. That's to me. I mean, dog is God backwards.
Yeah.
And if you ever needed strength from something, when you're really suffering, you're having a hard time emotionally, mentally, physically, touch a dog.
Oh yeah.
Touch a dog and they will help you with whatever issue you're having. They can make you feel so much better and stronger and more resilient, and they can just give you so much love and peace that you realize you can do anything.
Right.
So that's why I truly believe God sent dogs to us to help us through life's challenges.
Yeah.
And some of them are cuter than others, and some of them are more pesty than others. Now you leave that bear alone.
Yeah.
As we tell Jethro, you have a big butt. If anyone can see our little Jethro here, he is investigating apparently everything right now.
Show. Yep.
Yeah, he is investigating the whole thing over there.
There we go.
Oh, now he's down. Right as I get the camera where I can actually move it to show what he's doing, he gets down. But we tell him all the time, and it's kind of cute because I'll say, "You got a big old butt," and Steve says, "Oh yeah," and he just starts wiggling his butt because he's so happy and so proud of himself. He's such a sweetheart. And then of course he gets out of our fence and goes and chases the cows. And that's quite
a heart attack.
And that's quite entertaining when he does that. And when he does that, he takes a girlfriend here with him, but she doesn't go and play with the cows or chase the cows. She just goes and finds their poop and rolls in it.
That's fun.
And she thinks that's fun.
Yeah.
And he has a thing about his butt. Like he will literally come up to you, turn around, and back up to your butt.
Yeah.
Like
it's here.
just
Pat it.
Just pat my butt. That's all I want. All right, people, we are out of here. Love to everybody. Thank you so much. Love to Kimberly. We hope you can be back to the show soon. And we missed you this weekend. And we had a great time. And it was an adventure for sure.
Yeah.
A long drive. We also got to stop by and see Christy's daughter and say hello for a brief moment there. And have a piece of cake with her.
Yeah.
And back on the road. But it was a good trip. And we will see you all tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Bye. We'll see you later. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and like our YouTube channel, Girl Talks, GURLTAUX, and all of our socials at Girl Talks. Talk to you soon. Bye.